Hi, a very warm welcome to Dusty Shelf Collectibles. Well, today I want to share with you one of the stars of my collection, and I love my American outline locos. And a few years ago I purchased this second hand, which is a Rivarossi Union Pacific Big Boy. This is a 2002 model, and yeah, I just thought I'd show you this beautiful model. So I'll take all the paperwork away just for a moment and let's get into the loco. Look at the size of that. Absolutely stunning model. Really is. Right, let's lift this out of the box and let's show it to you. What a stunning model. Real presence this does have. And yeah, you can see the articulation of the two sets of wheels. So obviously a 4884 and with the two articulating bogies, allowing this to get around the track. Really lovely detail on these. And I mean, don't forget, this is, you know, this is a 20-odd-year-old model, so the more recent one that Hornby have just released, I'm not sure if it's the same tool, but it does look a little bit more detailed. But I'm more than happy with this one. A little bit of detailing in the cab, nothing really picked out though, you know, in terms of you know, the actual dials and things in there. Got a nice bit of the detailing on the firebox. You see mine's a little bit dusty. Got running boards, separately fitted rails down the side here. Got a separately fitted bell on the front. And obviously the cow catcher and the Union Pacific details right on the front of the loco there. 4023 this one. I forget how many big boys were made. I'll have to look that up in a minute. And then the tender, really nice detailing on here. You see all the pickups underneath and multiple sets of wheels on there. These do float, which allows it to get around the bends. But a real size of the loco. In here's a little detailing pack. Not sure what those are. Never really looked at those before. But anyway, this loco is actually fitted with a sound chip. Very early door sound chip. So ZTC sound. So ZTC controls. There's a whole manual here on how to map the chip. Really complicated compared with the modern bits and pieces, but I just thought it might be interesting to show you the price. I didn't actually fit the chip. This was done by the person who owned it before me, and I bought it with the chip fitted. So we've got here, chipping the loco was £60. Then we've got the sound decoder without the motor drive. I don't know what that means. It's £84.26, and then the speaker £16.13. So total bill to put the sound in here of £210. And yeah, it's not that advanced, but I'll show you that in a minute. In terms of the literature that comes with the loco, we've got information there on the spare parts. Got the body and the two, obviously, steam bogies and various other bits on there. Then there's a manual, all written in. I'm just trying to see if it's, yeah, no, there is an English area here. Gives some technical information about the locomotive, its size. Total weight of the loco is 772,000 pounds, and tender capacity is 28 tons or 25,000 gallons. Obviously all in imperial measurements. And then over here, just to say a little bit more information about the actual loco, and then this sheet, it's just a repeat. So yeah, I just thought what I'd do is get this over onto the layout, show you what a beautiful model this is. It's such a size, and you know, has a real presence when running. Show you the sound chip, and yeah, maybe say a few words around it. I have been over to the States a couple of times. I was lucky enough to go to Scranton, where they've got one of the big boys on display in the museum there, and I'll pop some pictures in the video. But yeah, to stand by one of these is just, you cannot believe the pure size of them. So yeah, one of my favourite locos. Anyway, let's take this over to the track and let's get some pictures. Right, let me just weigh the engine. So pop it on the scales. And the front part of the loco is 577 grams. And then with the tender, keeping in mind this does have the speaker and the sound chip in there. Total loco, 821 grams. So you can only imagine the motive power of this model if you've got it on a nice big layout with lots of wagons behind it. Right, let me give you some idea how big this model really is. So if I put a tape on there, it's just under, well, let's say 48 centimetres, so just under half a metre. which is absolutely huge by any stretch of the imagination. Now, I mentioned in the introduction, I think I mentioned it in the introduction, the chip was fitted in it when I bought the model. Now, the paperwork that came with the chip said it was fitted in 2005, so it's quite an early chip, and it is pretty rudimental, to be honest with you. But we'll give it a go anyway. So I'm just going to bring this in shot. I'm using one of the Hornby digital controllers to work this, and we'll just take the e-stop off, and let's give it some sounds. So we have the shunting whistle, the main whistle, and then release of steam. And to be fair, that's pretty much it. There are some sounds that come on every now and again, which is of the sort of coal shoveling. They're not on a function button, they just seem to come on every now and again. So let me just show you the other bit, obviously with it running. Do have synchronised sound with the pistons to some extent. And back the other way. There you go, but beautiful motion on the loco, and it has such a presence. I mean, it's one of my favourite engines that I've got, and but sadly the big problem with it is it's so big it doesn't go around the layout. So I'm going to try and film some shots of it moving, but it will be literally up and down on a straight piece of track. I'm not going to try and send it around the back of the layout, because it will get stuck. It's so long. Even with the articulated bogies, it doesn't go around very well. And there you go, you can hear the coal shoveling noise just coming on there. So yeah, let me give it a run, and we'll come back and close out the video. The Union Pacific Big Boy was manufactured by the American Locomotive Company between 1941 and 1944. 25 Big Boy locomotives were built to haul freight between Ogden, Utah and the Green River in Wyoming. They were the only locomotives to use a 4884 wheel arrangement with articulated central power bogies. The Big Boy was an evolution of its predecessor, the Challenger. This loco had a 4664 wheel arrangement. A Union Pacific design team, led by Otto Jabelman, studied the Challenger and found that increasing the firebox size, upping the working pressure to 300 psi, adding the 2 extra sets of wheels but surprisingly dropping the diameter by 1 inch, would significantly increase the traction without exceeding the axle weight limit. And so the Big Boy was born, and with the articulated bogies they could manage the curves of the hill climbs, but also be capable of running at 80 miles an hour. 8 Big Boys survived into preservation. 7 are on static display at museums across the US, but one of them, number 4014, was reacquired by the Union Pacific Railroad, and between 2014 and 2019 was restored into operating condition for the 150th anniversary of the first transcontinental railway. I was lucky enough to visit Scranton a few years ago and saw the Big Boy 4012 out in the yard. So impressive, honestly, the size of it. If you ever get the opportunity to go and visit one of the Big Boy locos, please do it, please do it. It's yeah, something to see. Well, I hope you agree. What a fantastic model from Rivarossi. Beautiful, beautiful Union Pacific big boy, and certainly has pride of place in my collection. Now, this one, as I said, probably about 20 years old. I've probably had 10-15 years, and the sound chip in it isn't all that great. It's not very authentic to the big boy sound, particularly the whistle, but it'll do me. I mean, I'm quite pleased with it, and it's always a pleasure to bring it out and give it a little run, although it doesn't go around my layouts because of the you know, the clearances that I have. Probably would make it around the radiuses with the articulated wheels, but certainly the clearances in the tunnels and things, it would get stuck. So yeah, sadly I could only run it back and forth today to get some footage of it moving, but always a pleasure to see it moving. There is a newer version of this model out, came out a couple of years ago I believe. I do think it's the same moulding and does have a little bit more detailing on it, but yeah, incredibly expensive, so I shall be staying with my 20-year-old version. Anyway, if you enjoyed that, please do give it a thumbs up, and as always, if you wouldn't mind checking out the channel, there's lots on there, and if you can subscribe, I'll be very grateful. And we'll leave this one there and say thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.